SSH Psychology, AQA Psychology. This is a specific question for paper 1, the memory topic, and the question was on differences in the different types of LTM, long-term memory. So if we have a look at the mark scheme and the question, here's the specific question we're going to look at today. The question was following on from a previous question, and so it said discuss two differences between the types of long-term memory you've outlined in your answer to question 6. So basically it just had specified two different types of long-term memory. So we know that we've got semantic, episodic and procedural that we could talk about. And remember, this question is discuss two differences between them. Okay, so you're not asked to define them. In fact, you've kind of referred to the definitions in the previous question anyway. So here you are literally just taking two of them and talking about two differences. Okay, this is the mark scheme that's available for this particular question from the sample papers. And I have developed that a little bit further down here. So I'm just going to move this down and we'll talk about, for example, episodic. We would say maybe it's easy to outline in words, so it becomes part of declarative memory, what we call declarative memory. And semantic is also easy to outline in words, so that is part of declarative, whereas procedural is not so easy to explain in words, so we would say that's non-declarative. So for example, if you think about procedural being how to ride a bike or something like that, it's actually quite difficult to explain clearly in words. So that's one comparison. You could also use another one, that episodic and semantic, so depending on which ones you've chosen, require conscious thought. So that means that you have to be focused on that. You can't be doing another cognitive task at the same time, whereas procedural, you usually don't need conscious thought for it. So you could be riding a bike and also learning some words or something like that. Okay, a third one, if you want a little bit more detail, the part of the brain used. So in episodic, we use the prefrontal cortex. That's associated with initial coding or encoding of episodic memories. Different parts of the event are located in different parts of the brain. And then we think that it's connected in the hippocampus to create the whole memory of that episode of your life, that personal event. With semantic, there's disagreement over which areas are involved. So there's still discussion about whether it's the hippocampus or other areas too, so you could use that as a comparison. But coding seems mainly associated with the frontal and temporal lobes, whereas with procedural, it's mainly associated with parts of the brain such as the primary motor cortex, and it doesn't need the hippocampus in order to function. And then if you just needed a comparison for these two, the episodic seems to be affected by the degree of processing of information at the encoding stage, which this is as well, which semantic is as well, but semantic seems to be sustained, seems to last for longer than episodic. So you've got 2 or 3 that you can make direct comparisons with, and extra bits there as well. So hopefully that is useful, and taking you back to what was in the mark scheme, that's covering it in less detail.